All right. I'm Henry. This is What If We Get It Right? The goal here is to dream big, to think hard about the actions that we can learn from yesterday, that we can take today, and that will make our future for tomorrow. Uh, for getting in touch with me or our guest, all of our links will be in whichever platform you're looking at in the notes below. So just go there and we'll have everything linked up. Like, commenting, sharing, following this type of content is probably the easiest and best way that you can get, if you like these ideas, out to the world. They will help them get shared and will help it get distributed to more people online, especially if you share it. So we appreciate that. My guest today is an old friend of mine, somebody I've known for many years, and I'm super happy to have him on my podcast. I've also been on his podcast, and I'm sure he's going to tell you about that. Rodrigo, thank you for being with us. Why don't you introduce yourself a little? Tell us maybe what you may be known for, and maybe what you want to be known for.
Henry, thank you so much for inviting me to this podcast. I really like the name of the podcast. What if we get it right? I mean, the possibilities are huge. Who I am, nowadays, I like to introduce myself as an entrepreneur, as a podcaster, and as a businessman. Um, I would like to be known more as a podcaster probably, and and a person that tries to help young entrepreneurs to obtain and achieve their dreams, because I have been there. I have struggled myself on trying to obtain different kind of things in businesses, and I believe that when you help people, uh, you obtain a self, well, what is the word, like, you obtain meaning in your life. That's probably the word. So thank you for having me, Henry.
No, not at all. It's been a pleasure uh, just knowing you for many years. And uh, why don't we start with the podcasting then? Maybe tell us a little bit about the podcast. I've been on your show before as like helping you as like a co-host, and have tell us about it. What's it called? So on.
Alrighty, so the podcast in Spanish is called Sin Malditas Excusas, which in English would be something similar to No Damn Excuses. I don't curse, so I can't use other kind of words. Um, but let me tell you the story of how the podcast actually started, because uh, the COVID hit. Everyone was like, what can I do from my home? I was gathering with some people from a community that is called Open Yexo community. That is people that works. They gather specifically because there's a purpose on this community. The purpose of this community is transform the world for the better future. So we
Hmm.
all of us have this kind of resemblance to adhere to this massive transformative purpose. And we were thinking, every one of us, we have a little group of people that we make some sort of a certification together. And we were thinking, how can we help other peoples that probably they are not going through a good time on their lives? What can we do? So we start thinking, um, um, well,
Like
like making,
brainstorming.
yeah, that was the word. Thank you. Brainstorming, as you can as you can imagine. I'm not my first language is Spanish, so most of the times I have these words in my head. It's kind of difficult sometimes to express myself, but so we were brainstorming and we said, okay, what we can do, and suddenly the idea came up, and it was like doing some sort of conferences for people towards a specific topic. Like it could be leadership, it could be like how we can be more close to entrepreneur, and we call ourselves DSMN, which is Don't Stop Me Now, from the song of Queen. And our group was Don't Stop Me Now, ventures, uh, but thinking in ways of entertaining people, but also putting the information close to those who actually need it. So we probably perform like 5 conferences. We have people, recognize people from all across the world. Um, Shows were done on Spanish. We have one of the founders of Notco, the startup company, and I mean, I bought afterwards this microphone that you are watching here, and I got a camera, and suddenly, like, I began to like this idea of entertain people, but not only entertaining people, but also bringing information, uh, quality, bringing value to people, like things
Mm,
that they could see, watch, and they can like put themselves on the shoes of the other person, or depending on what the other person say, they could they incorporate that onto their own um, startups or companies or whatever. So we
mm,
start like doing some sort of like a little community. We obtain some sponsorship from a person that has a vineyard. So all of the people that was interviewed, we afterwards give them a bottle of wine, Chilean wine. So everyone was really happy. And what happened afterwards was that COVID like began to decrease, and everyone returned to their jobs. And I said like, no, this cannot be like, this can't end. And I came to the idea of this new podcast that was called No Damn Excuses, but it was going to be only me interviewing people. And I make this logo that you can see on my shirt, No Damn
yeah,
Excuses.
I love it.
And I began like trying to find people that could be interest for others to have as a like, um, as an
To,
example.
to keep adding that
So
value.
to yeah, and until day I have almost 55 interviews.
Wow.
I'm doing interviews nowadays also in English, which has been a little difficult for me because obviously I'm not a native speaker. But for example, I'm very happy that I interview Rita McGrath, professor of Columbia University. She has uh, written, or is it
Yeah, yeah,
written
written.
uh,
Yep.
yeah, she has written amazing books. She was like, whoa, I can't believe that I got her on my show. I and how do you get a lot of the guesses? It's cold calling, not cold calling. How do you say when you go onto LinkedIn and you just, hey, I love your work, I love what you're doing, come to the
Reaching out.
podcast, reaching
Yeah,
out. And
yeah.
sometimes they will ignore you. I have a lot of people that has ignored me, no answer, no reply, no nothing. And actually Rita, it took her reply like 2 months, and then suddenly I got a reply from her. She apologized for not seeing my post, and she said, okay, bring like get me all of the information, the link, when we can do it, and boom, there you go. So it has been a really good, interesting journey for me. and
Yeah.
and why also it has been a different kind of journey, because I don't know if you know, I mean, probably some someday I believe I told you, but my profession, my core profession is accountant and auditor. I work
Mm,
for almost 10 years in finance, and 5 of them in a big four. I worked in PricewaterhouseCoopers, now afterwards PwC. So most of the times I was more on like on the corporate side, not much like bonding with entrepreneurs and startups and innovations
More of the
and
big companies.
big companies, like different mentalities, a lot of kind of process procedures, a way of behaving, because you are like the image of the brand. So like really, I don't know, in Spanish you would say like empaquetado, like it's like
Really boxed in.
yeah, really
Yeah.
boxing. Thank you. So
You're not
yeah,
allowed
that's
outside. You got to color
so
inside the lines.
that's
So,
basically how the podcast started. It has been really really good. I got 100 subscribers the other day. So yeah, I believe it's working, and I believe I'm doing something good for other people, and more people is watching those episodes. And you're uh, I think it this way, like you are recording something, you are providing value, and those videos are going to be left on over the years, and probably someone someday is going to say like, hey, I really like this guy, I really like what he's doing. And imagine you're going to die and someone is going to be watching your videos.
hmm.
Imagine that.
I I love that because I think too many people are interested in how many views they get right when they release, or and the algorithm for sure I think plays to that. But you're looking at it much more long term. It's this is who I am as a person, and I feel like I'm giving value, and I'm going to keep trying to give value, not only now, but over the next 1, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Who knows how much longer we have. And that's going to allow for us to show consistency. It's like, hey, we're going to keep growing. We've been growing. We're going to keep growing. We're going to keep learning. We're going to keep trying to add more value. And as we do that, you grow a community, and they can see, and you build that trust of the consistency. And I think that's really awesome. So,
I- I-
oh, go
can,
ahead.
can I mention something on that? I really love like all of the work that Gary Vaynerchuk has done,
Yeah.
and he actually started recording different kind of videos when he was working for his dad on a liquor store.
Hmm.
And I don't know how many videos he has, but tons of videos, and
Thousands.
at the and thousands. And at the beginning, nobody gives a you know like I don't know if I can say the word here, but
You can say fuck. It's okay. I we'll mark this one not fit for children. Although I don't know why words would have to be hidden from anybody. But yeah, that's a whole nother story.
yeah, so I really do like his way of thinking, of doing things. Nowadays he's like really really popular, and he has words to say to people. And he nowadays is someone that people is going to stop listening to him. But like his entire journey, like it was so lonely. and
Hmm,
and if you try to understand that, you gotta see that at the beginning you're going to be alone most of the times.
yeah.
But if you are doing things right, if you are consistent, as you mentioned, probably someday you're going to obtain what you're trying to obtain, like help
Hmm,
more people and spread the word of what you're doing.
yeah. And, and as you practice anything, you get better at it. Whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, as you take action and keep taking action, you keep getting better at that actual thing. So, okay, you mentioned a few things, and I want to we sort of talked about how your podcast came to be, and you mentioned a few things about like entrepreneurs, about helping people. I want to go back maybe a little bit to you, and like, how did you get to this point, or this understanding of I want to? You talked a little bit about the why of the podcast, But how did you, Rodrigo, get to this point in your life where you're like, this is really something of value? Like, and how did you determine that was valuable? Was it something that maybe you, maybe we can start there. What was it? What was the thing that you found valuable in your own life that you maybe wanted to then share with others, or some of the things? Sorry, that's a
So
long question.
no, it's all right. I believe that I need to tell you a little bit about what happened in my life. Um, I told you that I got like 10 years in finance, and on the last job that I had, there was some sort of modifications in the structure, so I actually got fired. And when I got fired, obviously, I mean, nobody likes to be fired from a job where you get an income, a safe income, like everything is going good. You have everything, like a good life, good income, good home, money to do whatever you want to. So
Mm,
basically what happened there was that, um, it was the first time that I got time for myself to think if what was I if what I was doing was actually something that I love.
mm,
And I believe that most of the times we don't do that. I mean, we are in a world that is moving so fast, and you have to, we in Spanish say, like, put the fire away, like you're doing all of the things that the company is asking to you. You have a thousands of emails. You have some commitments that you need to go to. You need to buy gift, uh, but you don't rest. You don't think. You don't meditate. I don't know. So it
mm,
was kind of I believe it was an opportunity for me to think about who I was, who I am, what I want to become, and
what
from
kind
that.
of answer did you find to that?
So before telling you the answers, I believe that,
Okay.
I must tell you that I got onto books. Nowadays, I have a lot of books, but when I was working in all my life, I mean, I never bought a book for myself, like to
Mm,
try to understand a new thing. I mean, only the books that when you were on college you got because you need to pass the test, but never a book that tells you that you need to find your own why, your own purpose, be more like meditation and all those kind of stuff. So what
mm,
I what I discovered was probably that you need to understand yourself. Like, if you understand yourself and you hear what your inner self tell you, you're going to be much better when you are on the outside, like, talking with people and everyone. And I believe that I began to know myself, like that
mm,
was probably one of the answers that I got when I was thinking, like, what I wanted to do. And then
mm,
afterwards I discovered that I didn't like it on 100% what I was doing with my life, on what I was working. And when I was on, I did some MBA on my life of corporate work, and I got to see, like, a specific topic that was design thinking, a way of addressing problems and needs for people, and then
mm,
creating solutions to them. And that was probably one of the things that I like. And I said, why I don't explore this topic a little bit more? What I do need to study or read or whatever to being close to these kind of topics. And that was when I decided to go to study again. And I said
mm,
to my girlfriend, on that time, my girlfriend, nowadays my wife, um, that I was going back to school, to study again.
Yeah.
And probably the answer was like, why? You already have all of the things that you want. But the thing is that for me is it wasn't over. Like, and there's a quote here from I believe it was Isaac Asimov, that he says that you never stop you never stop learning. Yeah, I mean, you're in a continuous improvement of yourself, of
Mm,
learning new things, and you never stop. And nowadays you see that as well, that with new technologies, that you need to be aware of what is happening. And
yeah.
let me
Keep
back to
learning.
and and then, making the story short, I went to study innovation and entrepreneurship. I first
Yeah.
did a certificate, or here in Spanish, a diplomado. And then afterwards, I did a lot of certifications, and I went to study online courses on Harvard, MIT, and suddenly I was studying a lot, um, but only because I felt that I wasn't much as as a person to speak about innovation. Like, um, I how to explain? Like, I didn't feel like probably comfortable enough with my own knowledge. So I believe that I
Mm,
needed to incorporate more knowledge to speak to people and say to them, "Hey, I'm kind of an expert on
I
innovation and
did the work.
entrepreneurship. I did the work. I have, like, if you know, when you go to hike, um, you grab a backpack and the things that you need for that hike. This was the
Hmm.
same thing. I mean, I felt that I was uncomfortable with the knowledge that I had, so I need to put a lot of knowledge on my back to be able to present before an audience and said, "Hey,
Mm,
I feel sure that I can provide value to you because I have done all of this work."
yeah. Yeah.
And and after that, I mean, I have done all of the things that I'm doing right now, like the podcast, some workshops about innovation. I create a small business boutique firm, where I provide services on innovation and entrepreneurship. I try to help a lot of people, and yeah, that's it, probably.
Nice. Nice. Dude, I love it because like, and as we were just talking even a little before this call, it has a lot to do with practice. It's like, even though you then go and get all of this information and you've got your whole setup ready to go and you got the backpack ready, but then you need to actually go out and hike the mountain. And the first time you go up the mountain, you're like, oh, I forgot this, and I didn't bring this, and oh, I don't need this, and then you come back down and your feet are sore, and it took you twice as long because I like hiking. So I love the analogy. But at the same time, then you go and do it again and again. And then after, like you said, you've already had, 50 some podcasts. And so you get to this repetition point. So then you really start to feel confident. You really have honed the skills and really narrowed it down, the knowledge that can really give high impact and value to people. And you start to, and that's, like you were just saying, a continuous learning experience. It's never ending. It's, in another 20 years, you're going to be even that much better. And so,
If I can I mention
yeah,
something?
yeah, go ahead.
Like, because one of probably the learnings that I got, is that most of the times you have a lot of fear in yourself. Like,
Mm,
i'm I'm not quite ready yet, I can't do it. And and yourself and what you tell yourself prevent you to actually start doing things. So probably,
mm,
like what we can do nowadays, is because I have spoke with a lot of young entrepreneurs, that they say, I love, for example, I met a girl when I was doing a workshop, and she loves things related to ONGs, and And she said like, but I don't know how to talk about it, like what I can do to start. And I said to
Hmm.
her, just start, grab your
What
phone.
what is ONG? Can you define that? Sorry.
Like companies that are created but not to make a profit.
Okay, nonprofits. Okay,
Yeah,
ONGs. Okay.
non-profit, sorry.
No, no, it's okay. I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood what that meant. So,
so
and
so
for me.
so I tell the girl that she need to start like talking about it, like telling to friends, like recording herself, telling why it was important for her, and from there, I believe that she's going to reach people that is probably people that has similar interests to her, and start bonding, but trying, like it's,
Hmm.
I mean, it's better to do it's the same analogy when they say to you like it's better to do one push-up a day rather than none.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, do something rather than nothing. At least take some action. Okay, so now people have a little bit of an idea about who you are and some of the things that you've done and the work you've put in. But let's take this idea of maybe podcasting and the ideas about business and working towards your goals, finding things that you actually love and are valuable to you. What what's your end goal here? Like if you can think out 20, 30 years and every single thing from here to there has just gone perfect. Every single step is building on the next. You have had the full impact you want to have. What does that look like? Can you paint this picture for myself and the people that are listening or watching, and let us know, like, what do you see? What is the vision that you have?
I do believe that if what was the name of the if we get it right, that's it. If we
Yes,
get
if
it
we get
right,
it right.
I imagine myself doing similar things as these two references that I got, that I have talked to you a lot. Uh, Gary Vaynerchuk, that we already mentioned,
Mm,
and
mm-hmm,
Tony Robbins. And
mm,
why? Because I believe that what they have done is helping a lot of people. So I imagine myself doing some sort of big, I don't know if conference, but I see it as a workshop where you can define your life, your goals, like, but helping a lot of people, and
mm,
and that gives you gratitude. If you analyze like the Maslow pyramid, you're like on the top, and you give back to people. That's probably what I see. If uh, I would try to look at the future, like being able to help a lot of people that is on difficult situations, and try to do
mm.
something for them, like.
And you found that that's really what brings you the most value from what you said earlier. That gives you a lot of meaning. You said you had, I think that was the word you used. So,
Meaning.
okay. So to paint out this picture, you're working with individuals who are either starting, or that people who are, you just mentioned, coming from nothing. Maybe they don't have the experience. Maybe they don't have the knowledge. Maybe, whatever it may be that they feel like they're missing. And so you're wanting to sort of provide almost like an education and maybe even a community or a group around supporting them and giving them that type of information in the future. Hmm.
Yes, I believe that
And
you
no,
have
go ahead.
summarized what I what I was thinking in much better English and much better words.
Oh, I like to repeat people's what they've told me in my own words, because it helps me to be able to understand. And maybe even in this type of a situation, it's allowing just another wording of the same thing, so that way it can be understood best by the people that are listening. And I'm sure if somebody else were to hear this and want to explain it to a friend, they'd probably use their own words to describe it. But the idea is that we try to be clear about these ideas. That's the whole point of this show, like you were mentioning. It's what if we get it right? So what happens if Rodrigo gets it right? What happens if the ideas of sharing good, valuable information that's been proven to work in people's lives, not only in economics and in business, but also in, maybe lifestyle and habits and finding purpose and being fulfilled in the work that you have to do in order to live in the world we have. And so I, I think that goal that you have, that you've come to and that you're at now and working at, and as you're taking that into the future, really at the end of the day, that's what you're trying to give to people. You've found this joy and satisfaction in the work that you're doing, and you're wanting to try to help others find their joy in what they like and what they can do in the world today and how they can add value. And so what you want pours in to the people that you're communicating with, and how they can amplify that to even more people in the world, which is really awesome. Because go
I,
ahead.
I mean, when you were talking, one of the things that came up to me is like from the beginnings, like from when you are a young child, like
Mm,
your whole setting that is put onto your brain is you need to do A, B, C. Like
mm,
you finish school, you afterwards will need to go to college, university, then you will need to obtain a specific work that is going to
mhm,
provide for you and your family. Then you're going to find a young and cute girl, you're going to get married, you're going to have kids, and that's it, your life. And if you also got the money and you bought a property, that's it, you have done it. But
mm.
I do believe that we sometimes need to question that kind of life that everyone is like
The
marketing, or
narrative.
yeah, like why it should be that specifically, why
Mm,
I do need to follow all of those steps. I mean, why I can do another thing, like probably I'm going solo, riding solo all the time, or I don't know, like, but probably you can found something that you like to do, and you can be a young entrepreneur and, and do a different path. But
yeah.
I do believe that everyone's needs to find his own path, his own purpose, and and also do not try to compare your path in life with your friends, with your family members. I mean, everyone has a different path, a different time when when everything is going to be correct for you.
Mm,
And probably I connect this with the thing that I was telling you at the beginning, that you need to see and understand who you are and what do you want in life.
mm, mm. I love that. I love that. I couldn't agree more. I think really people trying to take the time, if they can find a little bit of time, or making the time. Everybody has time, but it doesn't necessarily, we use it all up, and everybody uses it on different things that they feel they have to do. But maybe thinking about what you were saying, thinking about the process, thinking about the values, you can maybe make a little time to think about, what are my values, what are the things that I want to do, and what makes me feel complete and enjoyment in life. So coming back to that, do you have any like habits, any types of like regular uh yeah, habits, any, or like just routines, things that you do consistently, either day to day or week to week, that you find really add value?
I I do have some habits. Um, Probably I'm not like 100% committed to them nowadays.
Okay.
But there was like a specific book that I really enjoy a lot reading, that it was called like what was the Miracle Mornings, the Miracle Mornings, and
Okay. Okay.
then afterwards, this it became really popular. Another book that I really didn't enjoy it so much, that it was The Club of 5 a.m. I don't know if you
Okay. Yeah, like the 5 a.m. club or
the
something like
5
that.
a.m.
I think
Yeah.
I've heard of
So
that. Yeah.
when I read this first book, The Miracle Mornings, I began to start waking up really early in the morning, 5 a.m., trying to do some meditation, then afterwards yoga or going out for a jogging, and but trying to get some sweat on in my body before start doing things. And I try to maintain that for almost a year, but sometimes it's very difficult to be consistent. That's the word, and you have used it,
Hmm.
because I don't know, you have something to do the previous day, or you uh, go to bed really late, and in the other day it's going to be hard for you to wake up. But um,
Hmm.
probably one of the habits that do I do have nowadays is that I put everything that I need to do on my calendar, and
Hmm.
if an activity or whatever is not on my calendar, I just said that it doesn't exist, and I try to inculcate that to my wife, that as well. Like, if you want me
Hmm.
to go to certain part, go to visit your parents, or we have a birthday party or whatever, send me an invite, because if it is not there, I'm not going, or I do know I do not know that I need to go there. Like,
Yeah.
so nowadays we both work with calendar appointments, and if I need to do anything for our pets as well, you have an appointment for your pets, and probably th- that's one of the things that we are doing right now. Um, Another habit that I have incorporated is reading in the morning and before going to bed. Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
Before starting your day working, like trying to have at least 1 hour of reading, and then
Hmm.
before going to bed, trying to remove all of the use of your mobile devices, and
Hmm.
reading, because when you read in the night, like, you begin to feel like,
You get sleepy. Yeah, you close it, you relax and just like
you get
everything sort of goes down.
and probably another habit that you need to do most of the time is do some sport. I try to go on Sundays and whenever I can on the weekdays, riding my bicycle, or do
Hmm.
some jogging, some running. That's probably the things that I'm trying to incorporate. And what I'm missing and I'm lacking, and I have read a lot about as well, is um, your eating. I mean, the food that you
Put in your mouth. No, I get it.
yeah,
No,
like,
yeah, the
yeah, I
food that
mean,
you eat. Yeah.
the food that you eat is very I mean, it's going to be something, and why also nowadays, because the other day I was reading that certain, I don't remember what kind of food, but I mean, even the fish nowadays, it has microplastics, because
Mm,
you know that in the ocean you have a lot of plastic, and nowadays all of the species that are underwater eat those microplastics, and nowadays you
yeah.
are eating plastic as
Yep.
well. So, I mean, you gotta be careful on what you're eating.
Yeah. Yeah. We're slowly poisoning ourselves through sometimes even not being aware,
Mm.
depending on what you're eating. That's actually, I like that you went there because some of the questions I did have were related to like, what are your thoughts around food, sleep, and but just going back to like the habits of like reading and so forth. Um, and maybe like consuming of information, because I like to read, but I'm also dyslexic and a very slow reader, and so I wind up using like copy text to speech, and just my computer reads it out in like time and a half speed. I'm like consuming information, or a lot of podcasts, since I also enjoy art and music. And so, what are some areas of art? Because I would consider podcasting and videos and books all in this genre of producing something, art. And so, what are maybe some, just to focus in on that point real quick before we go to like food, because I do want to talk about that. What are some books, podcasts, art that is, you've mentioned a few already, but what are some maybe that have had like maximum impact for you that you maybe want to recommend?
Hmm. Um, there's so many. Probably one of the books that I always recommend to everyone, and the other day I'm going to say the name of the book. It's How to Influence People, and what is the word, like Dale Carnegie. um,
Oh, okay. How to win friends and influence people.
yeah, I really like that book. And the other day, because I always when someone has a birthday, I give him that book. And the other day
Mm,
I I lent my own book to my brother. My brother is 4 years younger than me, and he said
okay.
like, I haven't read the book yet, because I have some references about that book that says that the book is outdated. Like, it doesn't have like the information towards what is happening nowadays in terms of
Mm,
technology and whatever. Uh,
yeah.
but the thing is that, I mean, like, the core concept of what the books gives you is the
Mm,
everything. I mean, you can extrapolate that on what is going on nowadays, but
yeah.
not because someone is telling you that book is bad, or it is not uh, up to date with what is going on
Mm,
nowadays. You're not going to read it. So it was
mm,
like kind of shocking for me that he got so influenced by other people, like. And
mm.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
instead of actually just taking the actual information and making his own decision on it.
correct. So
Mm.
that probably is one of the my book recommendations that I give to everyone, um, about.
If I can say one thing about that as well, because I've also heard both ends of that story, and I've read the book and like the book, but I understand the argument I feel that people make against Dale Carnegie's book, and I think it is actually the argument that is most commonly used. I feel is not actually logically sound. And I'll explain it this way. A lot of people would say that the book How to Win Friends and Influence People is how to manipulate people. And if you read the book carefully, he actually goes into detail in the book that that's not the point. And so whoever reads that book and goes out and tries to manipulate people to make a sale or to do something along those lines is not, and even though they might say they use that book, they aren't actually following what that book said. The book was actually saying, you know, change who you are as a person if you're not already this type of person. Care about other people. Want to give them value. Be a nice person. And when you are those things truly from your heart, then it will come back to you. And that's how to win friends, or win friends, can't speak either. How to win friends and you influence people is by being genuine, by being truly a kind person. And you can go back and forth on the argument of, well, if you're only being a kind person to help to get something, then are you actually being a kind person? And I think the answer comes down to yes. You can make that decision that that is your motive, and you can then take actions that, if things come back or not expecting them to. It's just you want to be this type of person because that's who you believe is the best to you. So I think just to because I also really love that book and to stand on my soapbox that'll be enough for him. So just to support
And,
that idea,
and
you want to add?
no, no, no. I'm just going to say that if you actually want to manipulate people, uh, there's the book 50 Laws of Power. Uh,
Okay, okay,
and there's another one that is called oh, what was the name, like manipulation, but from a psychologist that talk to you how to do everything, like if you want to manipulate people. And
very
and
true.
nowadays
Learn the
in
psychology.
and nowadays in marketing as well, they are using a lot of behavioral economic, which is the way that people behave, and
Mm,
and and that you need to put like the specific words and actions for people to actually get to buy your product. So most of the times they are trying to manipulate you to come to where you are and what you are offering.
yeah.
um,
Trying to grab that attention. Social media is brilliant at it. I mean, they've got AI that's been working on this for years,
uh,
getting so you just stay on your phone. So,
Probably we can talk about a little bit afterwards of AI, because I have a lot of, I don't know if concerns, but I'm wondering what is going to happen with AI on the
mm,
near future. If I came back to what podcast I do like, um,
okay,
there's one podcast that I listen a lot, but it's in Spanish. That it's called Creative Talk Podcast,
okay,
um, which is from two Mexican people, John Black, and uh, that's his name.
okay,
And and her name, I forgot her name. He's going to kill me if she listens this. But
okay.
Creative Talk podcast. They talk about businesses, creativity, innovation. Motivation as well. They talk about books, reviews, movies, and they put all that information in 1 hour podcast. They have create some sort of a community where people gather uh, one Thursday in a month, and they
Yeah,
talk a
okay,
lot
okay.
about what's happening with all of the things that you see in the ecosystem. So it's quite good. And also I forgot to mention that another book that I really like and I need to recommend, that is called Exponential Organizations, which is part of the
Mm,
movement of OpenEXO. This book was written by Salim Ismail, and he was the innovation director of, I don't know if it was Yahoo, or I believe it was Yahoo. But the thing is that he somehow discovered that most of the companies that have achieved certain market, um, the big
like their
companies
scale.
like the technology companies, most of
Okay.
them have some sort of attributes that is quite similar. And if companies obtain that attribute and incorporate that attribute on everything that they do, they can scale exponentially, and they can achieve a lot of things. So that's another
Very interesting.
very good book to read and take a look at. And
Very
what
cool.
else? You mentioned books,
Oh yeah,
podcasts,
books, videos, podcasts.
and
I don't
uh,
know if there's any artists like music or maybe actual
uh,
art like
uh,
drawing.
uh, I mean, I do like a lot the work of Pollack, like
Okay,
but I don't have an artist like a musician that I listen a lot. I mean, I do believe that I have changed my behavior of listening music to listening podcast.
nice.
Another podcast that I listen a lot is Startupiable. that is also in Spanish. Sorry about that.
Portable. Okay, okay.
They bring information because it's quite interesting what they say. Like most of the information towards entrepreneurship, venture capital, and investments is performed in English. So what they are doing is bringing all that information and translate it into Spanish and
Nice.
democratizing all that information to all of the Hispanic speaking people.
I love that. I wasn't I forgot to ask if you wanted to do this in English or Spanish. I We might have to do a round two just in Spanish, and
Yeah.
we'll come up with some new questions or some of the same,
All right.
and do the same thing in Spanish because I'm game for doing Spanish and English.
Okay.
It just seems like sometimes I head towards English, and but that's my native language. But I can speak okay in Spanish.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, you're already Chilean.
thank you, thank you. So if we keep going on we were going on to like habits, and I actually want to, you were on habits, you were talking about habits, things that you do regularly. We talked a little bit about some things that were stood out to you in the reading part of your habits, and you had mentioned meditation. I wanted to jump back to that because I also have meditated and meditate daily and have meditated for many years, and think it is a invaluable part of my daily routine.
Mm.
But what does that look like for you? Can we just put a magnifying glass on that and look at that a little closer?
Yes, I mean I'm not quite an expert on meditation, but I start meditating when I read that book, The Miracle Morning, that says that you need to start like with 1 minute, 5 minutes, and I began as everyone that is looking for new ways of doing things, uh, looking in YouTube how to meditate, different kind of videos,
Mm-hmm.
um, and probably the most difficult things at the beginning was to trying to concentrate during that
Mm,
time that you have set. Um, Nowadays, I do only 15 minutes. Probably it sounds a short time, but for someone that is thinking in a lot of things, it's really difficult to concentrate on those minutes and specifically trying to concentrate on your inspiration and how do you say
your breathing, yeah,
your breathing.
your
Yeah,
breath work. Yep.
thank you for
Yeah.
that. So
No,
so
no
I
worries.
got an app that it's called. There are a lot of apps, but this
Mm,
one is called Insight Timer. And
okay.
what this app does is that it reminds me daily that I need to meditate. So at 6 a.m. in the morning, I got a reminder that I need to meditate, and it's counting like all of the days that I'm performing. Like you have,
Nice.
I don't know, like 50 days of meditation, and if I missed a day, I lose all of the days that I
Ah,
have.
it restarts.
Yeah, so you
Oh,
felt like,
I love that.
ah,
So you
God,
really don't want that number to go back to zero.
yeah. So that's probably the idea, and I've been doing that, and I also forgot that the other thing that I'm doing as part of an habit is I got a like you can grab any agenda or book or whatever, and when I wake up in the morning, and if I had some sort of dream, I try to annotate that. Annotate
Okay,
the
okay.
dream, annotate the dream, and also try to gratitude on the things that I'm going to do and the things that I gratitude about life, and trying to have that as an habit as well. Um,
Mm,
but
mm.
returning on meditation, I try to do that daily. It's going to be difficult at the beginning. Uh, you're going to have a lot of thoughts when you are meditating, um, but you need to. There's also a very good series on Netflix that is called uh, what is called
Headspace, I think. Is that the one you're
Headspace.
thinking?
Yeah,
On Netflix. I
yeah,
think it's
Headspace.
Headspace.
They
Yeah.
they began to talk to you. They like they give you like the process, like close your eyes
Mm.
now, inspire. I don't know how to say
Uh, Breathe in, breathe out.
in,
We're really
yeah,
simple in English. You have actual words in Spanish where I guess you could say inhale and
in,
exhale. That
yeah,
might be the right words.
that were the words that I was looking for. Yeah, so I
So,
mean, it has been a way of calming the mind, calming your thoughts,
mm,
when you are like thinking like in bad things, and you're
mm,
very like I don't know, like melancholic or whatever, like
sure.
being here on your space, on in your own, with your own thoughts, it's
Mm,
kind of relax yourself, and
mm,
you feel like ready to begin like a new day. um
yeah, yeah.
so yeah, that's basically, and I have heard a lot of different kind of methodologies like
There are a lot.
vipassana, or I have a friend that went to this like vipassana movement in the south of Chile, where they you need to give your phone, your wallet, and all of the personal belongings, and you start meditating from 5 a.m. to 4 p.m. with no
Wow.
stops, and then after you stop doing the meditation, all of the people that is meditating prepare their own meal, they talk, they can't use technology, and you
Mm,
are on that sort of movement for an entire week, and afterwards you need to, like, if you want and if you have, you provide like money towards the value that you have received, but it's like
mm.
an interesting way of like trying to let out everything, or
Yeah, sort
trying
of
to,
cleanse, a reset,
yeah,
pause, breathe, think. Like,
yeah.
yeah, dude, that is very neat. I didn't know that they had a center like that here in Chile. I'm definitely going to need to get some of that uh, information from you because I've thought strongly about doing that, and so this is just sort of a selfish part of the podcast. But we might need to get that information if and if people ask
Sure,
for it, I can put it in
yeah,
the link as
sure,
well.
for sure.
Um, Very cool, very cool. I couldn't agree more with everything you just said. There's a lot of different ways. The focus at the beginning is for sure, but it's sort of the work. That's the whole point, is to just become aware of how noisy your mind can be, and the whole process from wherever you feel it begins to wherever you think it might end. It just is full of self awareness and learning. That is the process, and very neat. Okay, so jumping back to food, what has this new role of your food, something that we do regularly, most people eat daily. So, what is, how is that playing into your actions that you're now starting to take daily as far as like habits? Because that's where we had sort of to go back to a back.
uh, I must say that I'm not an expert on foods, but
Fair
um,
enough.
I do believe that I'm more probably picky when you are doing your groceries and shopping and all that kind of things. Um,
Mm,
you began to read like the labels that are on the back,
mm,
trying to prefer more organic things, but because you gotta think that everything comes from the soil, but
mm,
you don't know what kind of chemicals or whatever they put on that soil to have a greener um, avocado, a reddish tomato, or whatever, like.
sure,
um,
sure.
but I do believe that people is getting more aware of what they are eating and from where those vegetables and fruit is coming from. So uh,
Mm,
I expect that we're going to see some new ways of obtaining our food, and and probably I can connect this to the work that Notco is doing. The like, I mean, it's it's kind of different kind of food because they are creating those that kind of food. Um,
What is this? That's what
the
company is this?
not company.
Not cool. Okay.
I mean, a
Is it a
Chilean
nonprofit?
startup. No, no, no. I mean, they
Oh,
are
okay.
for profit, but a Chilean company that decided that their purpose was to remove from the equation when they create food animals. So they create
Okay.
not milk,
Okay.
not ice cream, not burger nowadays. Um, the, Jeff Bezos has put a lot of money on them. Recently, they got another big round of seed from the CEO of Mercado Libre, which is like the probably the closest competition of um, Amazon and eBay, but for the Latin American market.
Hmm.
They are doing a lot of interesting things, and they got this AI algorithm that is called
Uh-huh.
Giuseppe,
Okay.
and what this algorithm do is uh, create a formula with all of the ingredients that you have, for example, to create milk. And
Hmm.
for
Okay.
milk, you need a cow to obtain the milk. They analyze like all of the ingredients. They analyze the formula of the milk, and
Hmm.
this algorithm said to them like, you don't need the cow. I can, for example, for I'm going to say like a crazy thing here, like I can have a potato and I can have a carrot, and with that I obtain certain filaments of the potato and the carrot, and plus other kind of things. Boom, I obtain milk.
Okay. So it's abstracting from vegetable sources versus from animal sources.
Yeah, correct.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah,
There's a lot of companies that are doing things that are similar to that. I follow one that does similar for salmon, and they actually use 3D printing of protein, and they actually mimic the look, smell, and taste of salmon, which is pretty cool. Um,
yeah.
so very
Imagine
neat.
yourself in the future. What if we get it right? And
Yeah,
you're outside of your home and you have a 3D printer that prints food, and you are very hungry. You're going to arrive in a couple of hours. You send a text to your 3D printer and you said, print me a hamburger or a tuna or whatever. And you arrive
yeah,
and your dinner is served. Imagine that.
yes, yeah, yeah. Very much. It's a real possibility in the next few years, and maybe even worldwide. In a few more. It's really awesome
That's
how
amazing.
cool these possibilities are becoming. Rodrigo, I think we might want to start wrapping it up. But before we finish everything up, why don't? Is there any like thoughts around like maybe highlights, things that it could be like that you definitely, if somebody remembers something from this conversation to take away, is there anything in particular that you would want people to like remember? One or two things, whatever comes to mind, and maybe even an action or actions that people can take that can help them as they go through the next day, week, month into the future.
Challenging question.
It's long and we can go back and forth on it if you want.
Yeah, I don't know if we can mention something. I mean, towards AI really quick before
Sure.
providing like what everyone must remember.
Okay. Okay.
I'm quite intrigued on what's going on artificial intelligence. Not only
Yeah.
because they are doing things that probably for them is much more easier than for humans, and recently we have seen like an increase in the use of this specific tool that is called chat gpt, that is
Hmm.
an open source artificial intelligence that you ask something and they got like the answers. People is using chat gpt to program in different kind of languages,
Yeah.
python, HTML, you name it, and not
Game
also
creation I've seen.
game creation, a lot of things. I
Yeah,
mean, they are using as well as to create formulas on your Excel spreadsheets. On, I mean, you can do
writing
whatever.
projects like actual original information,
Writing
food
blogs,
planning.
a,
Yeah,
a lot of things. So, but
yeah,
but
so many.
this is not the only thing that AI is performing. I mean,
No.
before we have seen DALI, that you put text and they create images.
Hmm.
There are other kind of things related to uh, driving self cars, and a lot of different kind of things that artificial intelligence is performing. So I don't know if we, as society, as people, are we wondering what is going to happen next? And here, probably, I could try to bring the information of Yuval Nohari in his book, El Siglo, I believe it was 21st century, where
Okay.
he was saying there is going to be a time in humanity where people is not going to they are not they are not going to need to work. I mean, they're not going to work because artificial intelligence and all of the technology is going to be performing all of the work that they have done. So you gotta start
Yeah.
thinking, and here I'm going to mention purpose again. You need to start
Mm,
thinking what you want to do in your life.
yeah.
What is your purpose in life? What are you going to do with all that empty time that you have nowadays? Because
Mm,
everything is done by technology. So
mm,
those are the kind of things that I'm trying to like. Where are we going right now? Like
mm,
that's I don't know if you have seen it. In I saw a picture of the drive-through of McDonald's in I don't know what state from United States, that nowadays
mhm.
it's like a machine. There's no person, and you do like you used to the drive-through, but there's a robot that is listening to your to what you order, and then when you go to the window where the person bring you the stuff, there's some kind of robot that boom push the order to you. You just grab it, but you're going
Yep.
to see that those kind of works where people uh, was working, and I mean they are disappearing.
Yeah.
Uber
Yeah.
drivers are going to disappear. Uh, Bus
There's so many
drivers,
industries.
truck drivers, um,
Coders.
yeah, yeah, designers, um,
Yeah.
accountants as
Artists.
well, artists. I mean, what is going to happen to us? Probably that's one of the questions that I have. Like, where are we going?
Mm. Yeah. The type of technology is only limited by our imagination, and our imaginations are unlimited. And if we can create tools that can help any individual to do any of those particular things instantly and well, then there's no need for me to offer a specialty service to you, or you to offer a specialty service to me for this idea of money that we have in order to live. If our machines and the robots with the technology that we've created can help me produce anything I want, but then can also use maybe some sort of solar or fusion reaction energy that we create that allows for limited or unlimited energy. So you have unlimited energy, robots and machines ran by electricity, doing all work and producing all services for humanity. Everybody has what we need now.
Hmm.
What is our purpose? There's no more need for maybe money, or it's just our free time and the space we're occupying. So there's this real interesting, it's like, okay, well then the only real challenging thing that we have left would be, how do we live together and not hurt each other? I mean,
Yeah.
and if that's really the point, let's maybe start on that now, like you're saying.
Uh,
So it is an interesting dilemma.
hmm.
A lot of people feel don't get there. They get to AI or they get to robotics or they get to and they say, well, what happens if it goes bad and tries to kill us or something along those lines? And the real point of this podcast is actually trying to look at those things and say, well, what happens if we get it right? What happens if we create a machine just like we have the laptops and the internet that we're working on right now and how people are watching this right now that's worldwide? What happens if our AI and our robotics and our technology just works how we want it to work, more or less, as we continue to make it better? And what happens when we possibly, in the very not too distant future, maybe in another 10 or 20 years, we have what you just described? It's a really big question that not enough people, I think, are thinking about.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, hmm. And also maybe the action step for anybody listening. It's like if this is completely a brand new idea, maybe don't take our words for it and maybe go do a little research. And you know, if this is something that you do know about, maybe start thinking about what is your answer and why, but then maybe how you can explain or help others understand that answer and why. So all right, Rodrigo, do you want to add anything more before we close out for today?
Probably what you asked me, like, what do I want to people get out of this? Like a complete summary. I don't know if summary, but um, probably some words towards that. Whatever you're going to do nowadays, I mean, all of the things that you're doing nowadays are the things that are going to uh, arrive you or get you to the
Mm,
point exactly where you want to be in a near future. So, if for
mm,
example you want to be, I don't know, a scientist or a doctor or whatever, start doing now the things that are going to prepare you to that person that you see yourself in the future.
mm,
Similar to the thought of it's better to do one push up today than doing none. I mean, you can start grabbing a book or a magazine that speaks about medicine or the things that you like, but start now. I mean, the perfect time to start is starting now. Probably
perfect.
that's one of the like the things that I would try to inculcate to people, that it it it, it only depends on them, and
Mm,
I like this idea of, I don't remember her name, but I'm going to search who said this, that she said, um, nobody is coming to change what you're doing right now, or saying to you like, quit that
mm,
job that you hate, quit that girl that doesn't love you, or get out of bed, do your work, go out, do some exercise. I mean, everything is up to you. You are the one that controls your life. So all of the actions, next moves, depends on yourself. So be
mm.
clever on the decisions that you make in your own life.
Love it. I love it. Thank you, Rodrigo. I really appreciate that. I think that I love it. Yeah, take action on what you want to see happening in your life. You're the only person that can make that decision. So love it.
Mhm.
All right. Well, with that as our reminder to take action, thank you everybody for listening to this podcast. Remember that if you like the ideas, the thoughts that are shared here, please like, share it, comment. That is how you can support this. And if you want to reach out to Rodrigo or to myself, all of those links are going to be in our show notes. We've got all the social medias and so forth. So this has been What If We Get It Right. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for dreaming big, thinking of the future. Take action today, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye bye.